Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Potent Productivity Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Pitts, and today I have with me the lovely Robert Cabeca. Hey Robert.
Hello, Sarah.
So, in this crazy, crazy world of solo entrepreneurship, business owner, that kind of stuff, there's so many things that can cause a lot of overwhelm. And you know me, I like to keep things very simple, like to keep things, straight to the point and manageable for myself. And one of those overwhelming things, one of the biggest things that I see is the idea of selling something online. It's a huge, huge topic. You and I had lots and lots of experience in this, good and bad. We've made lots and lots of different mistakes. And so today we just want to talk about how we might do that. So, how we might look at selling things online without as much overwhelm.
I think this is going to be a wonderful conversation. Ooh.
Yay. Okay, so um, yeah, the first thing that I like to make sure that people have is a strategy. Welcome to the Potent Productivity Podcast, where we pull back the curtain and dive into the real emotional journeys behind entrepreneurship. We're your hosts, Sarah
and Robert, and we know that building a business isn't just about crushing your to-do list or chasing overnight success. It's about navigating the ups and downs and unexpected turns that come with following your passion.
We're not here to sell you easy wins or rehearse the same tired success stories you've heard 1,000 times. We're here to talk about the moments when enthusiasm is buried beneath a mountain of tasks, when self-doubt creeps in, and when you're not sure where your road leads next.
So each week, we'll share raw conversations, real lessons, and practical strategies to help you reconnect with your creativity, build resilience, and rediscover what excited you about your business in the first place.
If you're ready for honest talk, community, and actionable inspiration, you're in the right place. Let's get real. Let's reclaim your potent productivity together. The first thing that I like to make sure that people have is a strategy. And by that, I don't mean, well, I'm going to sell this thing to these people. I mean, where does it fit inside of your business ecosystem?
Mm-hmm.
Right? If it doesn't fit, I see people all the time. You and I see people all the time. Somebody does some challenge or other, somebody does a training or other, and you watch the training and you go, oh, I could do that. Whether it's a different style of lead magnet or whether it's a training that you could do or whatever, you just think, oh, that's a great idea, I'll do that.
Right.
But it doesn't necessarily fit in your strategy or your timeline. What's your experience of that?
Yeah, no, that's actually, right on the money. In terms of, I know my experience has been, I want more money for my business, so let me just create a whole bunch of ads, throw a lot of money at it, and Facebook is going to honor my commitment to give them money and, et cetera, right? But what that means is like, or I just use Facebook. I mean, they're all over social media, whatever. It doesn't matter. You could do, television, radio, newspapers, magazines, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter. The point is throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping for a result without having that strategy in place.
Mm-hmm.
So in one of our previous episodes, we talked about what business plans are, and you like to use the word strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's great. So we can use that word interchangeably, business plan or strategy. And I need to know what the cycle of my business is. How long does it take for me to get a client? What's involved in getting a client? What do my clients like to hear? You know, et cetera. And what is it that motivates them to actually buy my product or service? Do I really have a product or service that somebody wants? What I've done many times is I have done the build it and they will come
Oh, yes.
routine,
Me too.
right?
Yeah.
But I'm different, and
Yeah.
this is amazing. Everybody on the planet's going to want this, and
Mm-hmm.
crickets,
Yeah.
you get nothing. And so that's very, not only is it heartbreaking, it's very not demoralizing, but it's very disempowering. What's the word I'm looking for? De-energizing. It's deflating. Yes, it
Mm-hmm.
deflates the energy in my system. Which is not a bad thing if I look at it from a constructive perspective. That takes me back to my original strategy. What do I want for my business? What does my business look like? What does my lifestyle in my business look like?
Mhm.
Do I want to be sitting at my computer 30 hours a day? Do I
Yeah.
want to be serving clients 30 hours a day or whatever? What does that look like? Because that's going to help dictate or determine what a marketing strategy looks like within my overall business strategy.
Yeah. And I think when I talk about selling things online, I suppose I'm really just thinking about the next big project, okay, or the next product that I want to create.
Hmm.
And because we're creative people, right, we come up with all these crazy ideas and they're so exciting.
Yeah,
But then the practicality of putting those together can happen so slowly
sure.
that you come up with the next great idea before you finished what you were doing before. And so you end up in a cycle of half finished projects, getting distracted all the time,
Yep.
that kind of thing. And when you have a business ecosystem, so you have your overall method of doing something, for me, it's the potent productivity method, you know, you have those steps of things, it allows your creativity to go crazy, but
Hmm.
keeps you within a framework so that everything you're producing is
Hmm.
cohesive.
Yes. Yep.
And having that cohesion allows you to come up with a new idea, but so it's not one project over here and one project over here, and almost feeling like it's tearing you in half because half of you's got to put attention on that, and then half of your attention's got to be over there. And then if you add more products, it's just different attention strength. It's sucking that attention out of you. Whereas when your business is cohesive, then you might have written a book, for example, and then you might create a training on that book, and then you might create a lead magnet from that book, and then you might, but because it's all cohesive, you don't have to keep reinventing the wheel all the time. You know, the topic is something that your audience really cares about
Yes.
because they read your book, or you're talking about it and you're getting engagement and things like that. So that framework, that strategy, that ecosystem allows you, in my opinion, to focus more really on what the customer really wants, and how they need to absorb the information that you have.
Hmm.
And whether it's your latest crazy idea or it's something that you'd never really thought of, it just allows you to stay focused on what it is that you're doing.
Yeah, and I think we have brilliant ideas, not crazy
Of
ideas. But
course.
anyway, and we get 100 a minute.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And again, it's right because when I like, not to reiterate a lot of what you said, but when I do come up with an idea for my business, whether it is a book or a product or a workshop or a class or, whatever, a webinar, seminar, live engagement, it could be all kinds of things,
Hmm.
or even a physical product of some kind, it's asking myself, how is this tying in to my overall business? Does it actually fit in my current business identity?
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
is it forcing me to stretch my business identity, which I've done,
Hmm.
and well, not intentionally. I mean, a couple times intentionally, of course, but initially not intentionally. It's like, oh, I didn't realize that, pursuing this product or this service for a client base was going to do this for my brand. It was going to push my brand into a direction I didn't want it to go, or
Hmm.
something like that. And so I think it's very important to be very clear about how this product or service, excuse me, fits into my overall business model. And there's nothing wrong with, you know, exploring, because that's the only way we figure it out.
Hmm.
We want to honor any new idea that we come up with because we are brilliant, we are creative. That's what makes us who we are. and we don't want to just be dismissive about it. We want to look,
Hmm.
want to explore. We want to ask ourselves questions. How does this fit? Is this going to take a lot of work that I wasn't planning on? Is
Mm.
this going to push certain customers away? Is it going to bring new customers in? And what does that balance look like, et cetera, et cetera? So that's kind of where I'm at with that. And I've can share a lot of different experiences from a lot of different companies. Um, but predominantly, I think that just what I articulated um, are really the highlights, of how to approach this.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen so many solo business owners, and they they really following along with whoever's doing the training, and they go, "Oh yeah, this is a great idea," and then they put everything else on hold to
Hmm.
get this thing created. They've
Right.
no idea whether it's going to work or not, obviously, which most of us don't. But when you have a strong audience and you're getting engagement and you're starting to put things out there for sale, then you do get a sense of what they want. But
Right.
sometimes we get distracted by that idea. And then because we've put everything else on hold, the thing that we were working on before that might have generated more money
Hmm.
gets put on the back burner, and
Right.
then it becomes not very interesting because you've got
Right.
this new latest crazy idea or interesting idea or genius idea, who knows. But for me, it's really hard for people to slow down,
Yeah.
and have that idea and really embrace that idea, and then look at the reality of where they are in their business, where they are in their life, and how much time they really have to put that into practice. You know, I'm working with a client at the moment, and she's working with people who are on kidney dialysis. And so she's developed a system of eating that doesn't disrupt, all of what's going on. And it's really hard for people to figure out what to eat, right? So she has a meal plan, and she's got a book, she's got a cookbook, and she's got this and she's got that, and she's got all these other products that she's been trying to get to work for ages, right? But the point is, let's just see if this one thing is going to be successful or not. So we're trying the 1 day meal plan. We are putting it out there into the world to see if her audience want that. Because she said to me, the one thing that I hear people say all the time is, I don't know what to eat. So this is the solution to that issue. And the psychology behind that, I mean, I don't have a psychology degree. I just know how people work because I'm exactly the same, right? So I go, this is my burning question. This is the issue that I'm having. And I cannot see past this issue
Hmm.
because I still haven't got an answer to this question,
Right.
right? So if I'm going, where is the nearest, I don't know, gas station, right? And you're describing your wonderful car to me, that because it's got some new gas system in it, I don't really care about your newfangled car until you tell me where the nearest gas station is, you know? And so people get distracted with, like, oh, but I could do this and I could do this and I could do this. And they never actually get to the point where they've answered the question for the people that they're trying to help.
Right.
Once they have tested it, that's when you can put the extra pieces in place. But because your brain works a million miles faster than your ability to produce stuff, that's a lot of reason why people don't succeed in
Right.
selling things online. It's nothing to do with how clever they are or how interesting their stuff is. It's just that they never slow down enough
Hmm.
to test and tweak and really check that what they're doing is working. They go, this is in my strategy. This is what I'm doing next. Now it's complete. I move to the next thing. And it's just a huge gap that's missing. And it
Yes.
can be really difficult to slow down and just be like, you know what? I can't do the next step until I've tested this first step
Right.
and made it work, because I know that people want it.
Right.
It's just, how do I get them to opt in for it or buy it or whatever it is that we're doing.
Right, right. And, again, we're not trying to make people do something that they don't want to do, number one. Number
Yeah.
two is that we really want to create that authentic connection, which is what we're good at. And I think that, you know, when we're talking about distraction, I mean, I have, I can notes here of book ideas and workshop ideas and they come to me throughout the day
Hmm.
and I write them down. I carry a book with me next to my desk. I have one in my car. I've got one next to my bed, because when these ideas show up, it's really important for me to capture them. And some of the ideas just end up as a piece of paper, in a stack, which
Hmm.
is fine. It's not dishonoring it. It's just like, okay, is that really something that I want to drop everything else that I'm doing and pursue?
Exactly.
And it's really hard to make that decision because, every time we come up with a creative idea, well, every time I come up with a creative idea, I do think it's the bee's knees.
Of course.
Why wouldn't I? Of
Yes,
course.
it was your idea.
It was my idea. It's
Yeah.
the bee's knees, of course.
Hmm.
Everybody's gonna love it. It's gonna solve all the problems of the world.
Totally. Yeah.
And good for me for believing that, because if I didn't believe it, then there would be no energy or motivation to really authentically try to pursue it.
Yeah.
And all that does is it reminds me that I got a big heart with great ideas and problems that I really want to help people solve.
Hmm.
So when I look at that underlying that core, and I look at this project, this very thing that I'm working on right now, and then trying to see it through, I can tell you that I have been most of my life an incredible starter, and just a
Hmm.
lousy finisher. And the reason is because, you know, it usually takes longer than I had initially expected. And the energy goes, the motivation goes,
Yeah.
because I recognize that my decision was emotional based. Nothing wrong with that,
Hmm.
but it wasn't tied in with my overall purpose. It
Yeah.
wasn't tied in to my overall strategy.
Hmm.
That's where I get the energy from to keep me pushing through the doldrums,
Yeah.
you know, because otherwise, yeah, I won't finish. And
Yeah.
I mean, I've got 1,000 projects that are probably sitting here in my office unfinished.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that I hate them or that they're no good or whatever. It's just like, okay, I decided that something else was more important.
Yeah. And it's interesting how many times, I mean, I have a folder on my Google Drive that is called brainstorming, and I put all of my ideas in there. And sometimes I can sit and flesh out an idea and I can spend a couple of hours just thinking it through and, what would I do with this? What product would I promote? What will it look like? How will it be perceived? All this kind of stuff. And then I go back to what I was doing.
Hmm.
So I've thought about it, I've emptied my brain of all of the exciting ideas and all that kind of stuff. And I go back to what I was doing because the time is not right for that new idea just yet. And it's amazing how many times I go look at that brainstorming folder or a printout of something that I've thought of before, and I go, yeah, not really bothered about that anymore. And it doesn't feel like it's the right next step for me.
Right. And I think it's really important, and sorry to jump in, but I think it's really important to recognize that for so long I felt like a failure because I was letting those ideas die in a stack,
Yes. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that there's something wrong with me. I must be broken. Right now,
Hmm.
across my room, on the other side of my office, on my big desk,
Hmm.
literally is a stack, a folder stack, one, two, three, four, I don't know, eight, 10 folders just jam packed with leaves of papers and what have you.
Hmm.
And over on the other side of the desk is this big bin with, I don't know, probably about 80 different notebooks in it. And I'm not exaggerating, I
Hmm.
turned my camera around, but you'd see the rest of my office, but which is fine. But anyway, point is that you know, th- the creativity that comes from solopreneurs to me is magical.
Oh, yeah.
And I just think that it's so unfair to myself when I come up with an idea and I set it aside because I'm working on something else, and I tell myself that I'm not good enough, I'm a loser, I'm lazy, I'm broken, there's something wrong with me, how come I can't make one thing work, blah, 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 blah.
Hmm.
You
Oh
know, and
yeah.
we just go down this rabbit hole of defeat and
Yeah.
undermining ourselves,
Hmm.
right? And when we do that, it's no wonder that we don't have the energy to get through the doldrums, to pursue, to finish
Yeah.
something,
Yeah. And that's
you
what
know?
pushes us into the next new idea.
Well, that's it. You know, it's like when I have proof, and this is what's important about goal setting.
Yeah,
I've written a couple books about this. I might
yeah.
know some. But this is what's important about goal setting. So it's like my goal might be on a piece of paper like this. It's like get a master's degree or an MBA and buy a big mansion. It's like wait a minute. Is that going to happen like right now? Am I going to sacrifice my happiness for the next 3 years, 5 years, whatever years before I get that MBA or that big mansion or that car or whatever? Am I really not going to be happy until I get that? No. We have to learn and reshape our system away from how we've been programmed to say that it's okay to set these little micro goals. So, and it's something that's achievable and it's something that I can do in the next 15 minutes. And some people think like, what is that, nursery school? What is that all I'm really good at? It's like, is that really what you're telling me that, we got to celebrate, the normal, the mundane? No. I have lived the majority of my life feeling like a failure because I wasn't able to achieve those big goals because all I did was have that big goal in my mind and I
Mm,
never broke it down into itty bitty, teeny weeny, little tiny steps that
yeah,
I could actually take one at a time and succeed at and succeed at. So I have proof of my success.
yeah,
Without that proof of my success, why would I believe that I can achieve that major goal? There is none. It's
no.
just pie in the sky wish. Oh, well, if I just throw enough spaghetti at the wall, all this poor spaghetti we've been talking about in this podcast. Oh, it's a horrible thing to do with spaghetti. But anyway, um, so, it's really, really important to value and honor the work that I'm doing, no matter how mundane, no matter how minuscule, because it takes us there. This
Yeah.
book here, Psycho-Cybernetics, so you got me on a roll, sorry.
Oh
It's
no.
like he talks about the rocket, and it's like if a rocket, well, number one, a rocket, is off course, I think 97% of the time.
Wow.
Right. It is. And it uses its internal guidance system to keep it on track. But
Hmm.
not once. It's got to make all these corrections, millions of corrections between there and its destination.
Yeah.
And not once does that rocket think that, oh man, I must be a total screw up because I can't stay on track. No, it's using its guidance system to keep itself on track, number one.
Yes.
But number two, if I take one action in this direction, it's not going to seem like anything right now. But after several steps, it's going to be like over here and over here and over here,
Mm.
and it's just like a completely different trajectory. But if I don't let myself experience that, if I don't let myself have that success, then I'll never know what it's like to actually finish something from beginning to end.
Yeah, and I think
So
that's a
I went on
really
a roll there, so sorry about that, my
that's
dear, but
okay. I bringing it back to the strategy thing. I think
yeah,
it's really important that the strategy is behind everything that you're doing so that you can create those
yes,
milestones and you can
yes,
create the measurement of success, whatever that looks like to you, you know, because success today might be, well, I was feeling really crappy about this thing, but I did this one thing that I haven't done before, or, was it was something really tiny and I made myself do it and I did something about the problem. I'm just proud of myself today. And if that's your measure of success for today, great. But it's keeping you on track. It's keeping you within your strategy so that you can achieve these things. But without that strategy, you are flying blind. You've no idea.
Right. Exactly. Yep. Yep. And a lot of people, let's just talk about me.
Okay.
Um, I know for me, I would create a business plan and be like, okay, this is my plan. This is what I'm going to do. And then the next day I change it. And
Yeah.
then the next day I change it. And then the next day I change it. And that's not a plan.
No.
That's spaghetti on the wall.
Yeah.
Poor spaghetti.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it
And
is.
and it's important, that if I create a plan to follow it and
Mhm.
only make changes when I have results that justify the change.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because it's like you said, with the action creates information, right? Every time you take an action, it creates information. It might not be the information that you were hoping for, but
It's
but it
information.
gives you information. And
Yeah.
based on that information, you can change your next action. So if you're constantly looking at, I don't know, how many sales you've made and you're not making any, then it doesn't necessarily mean that you're
Sense.
everything that is terrible. A lot of people would just scrap what they were doing and go, oh, it didn't work, and they'd move on to the next thing, you know? So it just depends on the information that you're looking at, but that's like a whole different topic. So the point is for today, have a strategy. It will keep you focused on what you're trying to achieve. It will give you the navigation system that you're using to keep you on track. It will help you avoid distraction. It will help you stay positive in what you're doing when things aren't maybe going to plan and all that kind of stuff. So that's really my takeaway for today is like have a strategy that fits you, your business, your ecosystem, and your timeline right now for whatever it is that you're planning to sell online.
Brilliant. Absolutely.
Cool. Well, I think that's a great place to leave it. What's your
I think
takeaway for
so.
today?
What I said earlier is just keeps coming back, great starter, lousy finisher, and and there, without criticism, without judgment, without right or wrong or good or bad, just you know, recognizing that I can have a lot of energy to create something. Believe it or not, I can have the same energy to finish it.
This is true. Yeah.
Yes.
So, dear listener, dear watcher, viewer, maybe that's a better word. Um, what are you struggling to complete? What's been distracting you? Have you got a really strong strategy? Let us know. We really want to know. We really want to be able to help you. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast. You can do that at potentproductivitypodcast.com.
Absolutely. And don't forget to visit the website because we have all kinds of incredible resources just for you.
Yeah. So thanks for today, Robert, and I'll see you again next time. Bye, everyone.
Cheers. Bye all.